Today we'll do our normal lineup. We have speakers from the town of Berlin, Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and the Connecticut National Guard, as well as leadership from our Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection joining us this morning. So with that said, I'm going to invite up Berlin Fire Chief John Masserio.
Good morning, everybody. So the overnight hours brought us some relief on the north side of the fire. We've seen some improvement in the conditions behind us here on the ridge line. Our aerial survey of the south side was a little less encouraging. The fire picked up. It's working down south a little bit more. We're aware of it, and the air resources are concentrating on that area. So we expect to have that back within our grasp pretty soon. There is a good smoke presence from that affecting the Gemfredo Park area and the Chauncey Peak hiking trails. Meriden has a strong police presence out there. Those parks are closed along with Lamentation Mountain, and Silver Lake is still closed as well. Today, ops is normal. Our dozer crews are working to create a roadway to the top for our water operations from the top of the mountain. Our ground crews are continuing to maintain our control lines around the fire, and our air resources are going to continue those dumps throughout the day today. Conditions are not too bad for us right now. It's kind of working for us, and we hope that kind of persists. We know it's going to heat up next week, so we're really just, kind of putting the pedal down to get everything we can done to wrap this up and have a good control on it by the end of the weekend, we hope. Once again, incursions by outside drones, aircraft, and ATVs has been a huge issue with us. I know we've reported on this many times, but over the afternoon hours, we had to ground our aircraft multiple times due to aircraft in our flight area. So there's that flight restriction in place, the TFR, and we ask that pilots respect that, drone operators respect that, and we ask that quads on the ground respect that. To put it in perspective, every time we have an incursion and have to land an aircraft, the startup time on an aircraft is 30 to 40 minutes. So, we have 4 or 5 incursions. We're losing over 2 hours that we can be dropping water on the ground. And, not that it's contributing to growth, but it's hampering our efforts to effectively put this under control in a reasonable amount of time. As far as residents in the areas of Sea Green Drive, the protection is still in place for those houses. We don't foresee any issues. The fire is actually pretty calm up in that area now. So that protection will remain in place, and we're continuing to monitor that edge, but there shouldn't be any issues there. With that, I'll let Tom come up, give his end of it.
Good morning, everybody. Tom Trask, Forest Protection Supervisor. I'd like to brief quickly on the statewide that is currently happening. We do have multiple fires occurring, nothing larger than 10 acres at this time other than the Hawthorne Road fire. We are continuing with efforts through deep and local resources to maintain those fires. The town of Oxford fire is currently between 5 to 10 acres with a moderate rate of spread. Units in that area are working to contain it, and we're getting heavy equipment resources over there. Please note that we may be moving aerial assets over there if needed, and new TFRs may be in place. The TFR for this location is being extended. We are working in conjunction with FAA, and we are also working with local resources in Rhode Island and Massachusetts to fill our need for more appliances such as hoses, nozzles, and pumps. All resources are coming together appropriately, and we are doing what we need to get this fire under control. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Major Mike Wilcoxon. I'm the Director of Public Affairs for the Connecticut National Guard. I'm losing my voice. their crews, high morale. They're doing excellent, exceptional work. We're going to continue to support the fire suppression mission throughout the day. We still have the 2 aircraft in the air dumping buckets of water on the fire. As of last night, we dumped 88 buckets of water, totaling over 101,000 gallons of water on the fires. Today we expect to continue that mission as we've been doing, and we expect to have similar numbers today. Great work by everyone, including our local, state, federal partners. We're excited to continue to help.
Those 88 buckets, was that just yesterday or total?
88 buckets yesterday, totaling over 101,000. And the grand total, as of last night, is 120 buckets of water, totaling over 127,000 gallons.
Thank you.
Morning again. So some good news to report. Yesterday, Governor Ned Lamont, as I mentioned, had submitted a request to FEMA Region 1 for a Fire Management Assistance Grant, also known as an FMAG grant. We were informed late last night that that had been approved for Connecticut specific to this incident. We understand there are other wildfires going on, but that approval was specific to the Hawthorne fire. And what that does is allows us to go and recoup costs associated with this response at a 75% federal share, 25% local share. We know this is an expensive operation, and that's really going to be helpful to allow us to continue to request additional mutual aid resources in to help stabilize this incident. So we thank the governor's office for helping facilitate that request, FEMA Region 1, as well as the U.S. Forest Service, who also has to approve that request. I know I say it every day, but as long as aerial operations are going to be going on, we will maintain that wireless emergency alert. We updated the language today very strongly to let everybody know that in addition to the hikers and people out and about to avoid the wooded areas, we also added language today letting everybody know that there is also a no drone zone and to please honor that temporary flight restriction as the problems we had yesterday were mentioned by the chief. We continue to maintain the unified command. What I mean by that is that we know that this has also been in Meriden and has potential to also impact the Westfield Fire District part of Middletown. So we have the chief here from Meriden as well as the Westfield Fire District in Middletown. They've all been working together with the chief from Berlin and our Connecticut Deep and the incident commander all together, and our partners at Eversource as well. There's been a ton of partners in our command post here basically working together, not only looking at the immediate problem of the fire, but thinking days ahead. And with that, we know that we're probably going to have air operations continue into the weekend, and we'll continue to evaluate the need for additional resources and what else needs to be brought in to stabilize this incident. With that said, I'll open it up to any questions you might have. That's the plan, yeah. If anything, we're asking for additional resources in terms of equipment. So, if anything, this might grow a little bit, but that's something we evaluate daily. Last night there was no night operations, but again, that's contingent upon the status of the fire if we need to resume night operations. But right now, unless something changes, we're primarily focusing on a daytime. We're operating under an operational period of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So. I don't know if Meriden, you want to speak to that? Or yeah, they haven't released the report yet. So.
Our Borough and Fire Marshal's office would handle that, and I've been asking, and we're taking care of that, and we'll get that out as soon as possible.
So when you're talking about it kind of picking up on the south side, are there houses on that side that people are now growing concerned about?
So there's no homes that are of a concern, no evacuation concerns on the south end of the fire. Eversource does have a high tension line easement that runs through that area. They have been on site with us. They're aware of it. That section of lines has been shut off for the time being. We'll reassess later on. Those shutoffs don't affect any other power in the area, so that should just be isolated to there. And in fact, we have the Meriden Assistant Chief here. I'll bring up Chief Noonan, and he can talk on the Meriden a little bit. Chief.
Hello, I'm Assistant Chief Brendan Noonan with the Meriden Fire Department. Do you have questions?
Just about how it's going in Meriden right now in the south end.
Absolutely. So our 22-member department, we have 22 people on duty at a time, and having about 20 to 30 calls a day. We're already a busy department, so this is adding some manpower hours to our operations. To make sure that the residents stay safe, we do have crews in brush trucks surveying the areas, especially in the homes. especially in the homes and cul-de-sacs in the areas that lead up to the forests. And the most important thing that we can say right now for the residents of Meriden, for people in the area, is to please stay away from that area so we can have safe operations to get this out as quickly as possible, especially with the red flag warnings for the next couple of days for the weather. So some of the houses in the area, in those residential neighborhoods, do abut the forests, but right now the fires have not gotten close to those houses. But what we do need to watch out for, and why we're surveying the neighborhoods, is for, with this wind, any embers that can start fires in the areas around the neighborhoods.
Are evacuations a possibility in the coming days?
It is too early to say whether evacuations will be necessary. Hopefully today, with our operations in place, with people staying away so that we do not have to halt operations, we can get a good head start and get ahead of the fires to prevent any evacuations from occurring.
A couple days ago,
If I could just jump in on the evacuations. So our evacuations are dictated by geographic areas within the fire. We have in place what we call trigger points to create boundaries. Once the fire reaches that boundary, that'll dictate at that point we start considering the evacuation orders. At this time, the south end and the north end are trigger points. The fire has stayed well away from that, so at this time we're still pretty confident that evacuations will not happen in the foreseen future.
how many calls did you get regarding people concerned about fire inching closer towards them? I know you spoke about that last night.
Yeah, so, the overnights, we have a pretty good presence in the neighborhoods. There's roving patrols through the night hours. They have a visual presence within the neighborhoods. Any residents that feel they want to talk to that patrol through the night hours is more than welcome to flag them down and do so. They're there, for their reassurance, and we're out there monitoring the situations. If residents are sensitive to smoke and asthma, that nature, they can close their windows and protect themselves that way. We do have portable air monitors in place. Those are remote stations that are tied in through Wi-Fi, so we can get constant feedback on air quality conditions. We have them in the neighborhoods set up throughout the fire where we have our access points. So as far as health and safety, we are on top of that.
Which states have personnel out today?
All the same are working. We have New Hampshire, Connecticut. Yeah, why don't you run through that?
We have, so New Hampshire is still here. Rhode Island was tasked to the Oxford Town fire. Maine is obviously still here with their helicopters. And Massachusetts is assisting with delivering resources as Rhode Island is delivering resources. So you may see those trucks as well. They're just bringing us stuff.
How many total personnel are working this fire?
On this fire today, I believe it's between 40 to 50 personnel.
Sorry, you mentioned Rhode Island has also been deployed to the Oxford fire.
So that's the town of Oxford has a incident going on right now. It's a fluid situation as it's early in the process. It started early this morning. They're managing it to get it under control quickly.
Besides Oxford, are there any other fires right now?
There are multiple ones being monitored by local and deep personnel. I don't have the list with me. We are managing them as needed and providing resources to any agency that's requested as we can.
You think we can get access to that list?
Not at this time, I'm sorry.
Do we have an estimated acreage for the Hawthorne fire today?
We're going off of yesterday still as I believe 107. We are working with our GIS personnel to gather a new map to keep our units safe and working efficiently.
907 was before it started to pick up more in the south.
Correct. It may have grown since then, but without the actual GIS diagrams, we can't give you an exact number.
A couple days ago, the other spokesperson for DEEP was mentioning and talking about how the wildland firefighters kind of dig a perimeter around the fire to try and box it in.
Yep.
Are you going to be doing that again further south to try and catch it before it spreads?
So once they can allocate units to that area and it's safe, with aerial units and ground units don't generally work well together due to overhead hazards. But once it's safe for them to do so, they will move to that area, start constructing line with leaf blowers, shovels, and other digging implements. If possible, we do still have dozers on scene, and if needed, we will relocate and start using dozers to maintain that fire line.
Something else I heard mentioned this morning was, with all the water that's being dumped, it is like loosening the trees, and like firefighters need to watch out for falling limbs or trees and things like that. Can you talk about kind of the obstacles they're facing up there?
So up there in more of the areas that burned the heaviest, you do get the layer of duff underneath the trees and soil has been burned out. They're essentially standing there by themselves on rocks or other things that the trees will cling to. And yes, that is part of the reason why we've been keeping them out at the evening hours, because they can't see those overhead hazards moving or falling towards them. So it's a mitigation that we do with our lookout situations as part of what they're trained to do.
Just a question about FEMA. You mentioned that the state got approved for that request. Do you have a cost estimate of, the operations going on here, how much it's going to cost, and, hopefully how much is going to be covered by FEMA?
Yeah, so early in the stages of any incident, the priority is just getting what you need to respond and stabilize the incident. So really that first few days is what we did, is we just got everything we could here to help us start to put the fire out and stabilize the incident. Now that we're starting to build in the infrastructure around it with what we call the incident command system, we are bringing in financial staff to help us compile a more detailed number and start to establish what's called a daily burn rate. So we don't have that yet. I hope in the next couple of days we'll have a better handle on it. But I could estimate that this is easily going to go into the hundreds of thousands of dollars very easily, just with the aerial operation alone. But until we have that final number and that burn rate, we can't really speak to specifics. So.
I know the community has been giving a lot of food, bringing over for you guys, and I've heard it might be almost too much. Is there anything at this point that you would ask businesses? Is there something you do need, or what would you say?
We're well stocked up out here, whether it be food, equipment, supplies. We still are getting some donations trickling in. I think everybody's been doing really good with that, contacting the Sal Val, who's on site today, or the Farmington CERT to kind of coordinate that. We've reduced, people have been reducing the amount they bring, which has been a big help. It gives us a better selection. We don't want to turn people away, but we just want to have a little better control of what we don't want to waste anything. You get too much food and it's just wasteful. So.
How are the firefighters doing fatigue-wise? This has to be really hard.
Yeah, so long days, they go out, it's 12-hour shifts. Guys are tired, morale is good. They're making good progress. They're getting out, they're getting their work done. Tasks are getting completed. They come back, and spirits are up. So we foresee that continuing on, and we'll help them out any way we can. Whatever they need, we provide it for them. And they do get their rest breaks, as short as they may be.
The funeral for Robert is planned for Monday. Do you plan to attend, and will you be making any sort of tribute to his forgiveness?
So we have some coordinators working on the fire department details, as it differs a little bit from the public. I will be attending the wake and funeral. I have a great staff behind us, which will allow me to break off for those few hours for each event during the day. There are some nice tributes planned for that. Those plans are still in the works, and I've been getting little bits of information from time to time on the planning. They're trying to separate me from that, so I don't have a lot of info. If I learn more, we'll update you in the next briefing.
Do you know how many fire departments will be coming out to show?
So the services will be up in Hartford. We expect a very large turnout. I know they're working on some additional parking areas to use to accommodate apparatus and departments that are coming up as a whole. I think they'll have some shuttles possibly running from those parking lots to the church. So they're working out all those details to make that go as smooth as possible. All good?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
10 p.m.
Okay. May 3 p.m.
Yeah, so yeah, we just felt that, you know, the 3 o'clock, we're repeating a lot of information and we're pulling a lot of our staff out where they could be doing some tasks, and, you know, we'll give you a better, more robust report after our operational briefings, pre-work and post-work.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
What about for the weekend? Like, what will you be holding any press conferences?
Yeah, we do so.
At the 10 a.m. till?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.